Haile Selassie is dead and gone. But Jesus ever lived. Amen. The apostle also outlines in Romans chapter 15, verse 1 through to 3. Look at it again with me, very quickly. He says, Romans chapter 15, verse 1 to 3. I like this very much. He says, we then, Romans 15, verse 1 to 3, we then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak, and not to please what? Ourselves. Follow Paul's line of argument. Look at verse 2. Let every one of us please who? His neighbor for his good to edification. Oh, if the church could learn that lesson and live that. Not to please ourselves. The problem we're having in our churches today is that from preachers down, we want to please ourselves. Yes. Look at verse 3. For even Christ. See, that's where Paul is going. For even Christ, we must look at Christ. Yes. For even Christ pleased not himself. But as it is written, the reproaches of them that reproached thee fell on me. Christ took our place. Christ took your place. That's the significance of the service. The foot washing service. The communion service. This role of man's substitute, Isaiah the Messianic prophet prophesied about long before Jesus came to this planet. Isaiah 53, verse 3 to 6. Yes. Let's get a few texts in properly. Isaiah 53, verse 3, 2 to 6. Isaiah prophesied about it. Isaiah 53, verse 3 to 6, he says, walk with me, church. He was despised and rejected of what? Men. A man of what? Sorrow. Every time you are in sorrow, remember Jesus. Yes. Are you with me? Yes. You and I were the first one to experience sorrow. As a matter of fact, what we call sorrow ain't no sorrow. Compared to the sorrow that Jesus experienced. He was a man. When he says he was a man of sorrow, it means every day he in sorrow. That's right. Are you following me? Yeah. Sometimes we get sorrow now and then. And what we call sorrow, oh man. He was a man of sorrow. And what? What's the next phrase there? And he is acquainted with what? With grief. This is the bad word? You know what grief is. Yes. You have lost your husband, your dear husband of 52 years. But you are serving a Savior who understands your pain. Amen. Sister Jenny, you lost your son. Right? Jesus understands our grief. Yes. Because he is acquainted. Mr. Harris, you lost your cousin of what, 51 years? 52 years old. And when our hearts break, and each one of us who lost a loved one, when our hearts break, Sister Ruth, you lost your sister not too long ago. And when our hearts break because of the grief, let us remember that we are serving a Savior who understands our situation. Amen. And he knows exactly what you're going through. I may say, well, I understand. I lost my mother 2 years, but I don't really understand your pain. What Jesus does. A man of sorrow and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised. Do you know what despised means? Huh? Anybody know what despised means? People hated him. So when people aren't talking to you, don't make that issue. That's right. We worry on this one not talking. Mass may not say hello. Contemplating all kind of evil towards you. He was despised and rejected of men. A man of sorrow. but he was wounded. Matter of fact, let's go back up to verse 4. Surely he had borne our griefs and carried our what? Does that sound like a substitute? Yes. Yet we did esteem him what? Stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. Yes. But he was wounded for what? Our transgression. He was bruised for what? Our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with whose stripe? His stripe. We are what? Healed. Yeah. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way, and the Lord had laid on him, the Father laid on him the iniquity of us all. He took it upon himself. I want to quickly share something with you that you understand. Sometimes people say, Jesus came and said, Father sent to this earth and to redeem us. Oh, yeah, fine, but I want to just lay this something on you. How Jesus came, how he came. Jesus, give me somebody. When you're going through your ministry and your troubles and whatever, and Satan is harassing you, Jesus volunteered to be our substitute. Jesus volunteered. You know what? We're not volunteer. He volunteered to be our substitute, and God the Father accepted his decision. That's why I read earlier on said that there was a council called in heaven. And in that council, on the agenda was the salvation of Adam's fallen race. An angel would not come. For an angel is a created being. Even though many of them would have to, but they could not. Only God would redeem us. And Jesus said, I will. Yeah. Throughout eternity, we will study the plan of salvation. We have not studied it. Because for all of us, and I'm praying that we all get there, but for all of us who get to heaven, when we see what heaven is all about, we are going to ask one simple but profound question. Why did you do that? You, who is the majesty of heaven, you where angels bow in reverence